privilege to welcome you for our 7th annual event. Can you believe it? 7 years of GirlCon magic. And we're so excited to welcome you into our ever-growing community of leaders and learners. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks, Kyla. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Nurula, and I'm one of the co-directors for GirlCon 2024. I'll be an incoming freshman at Washington University in St. Louis, studying neuroscience and computer science this coming fall. Back in 2018, GirlCon began as a student-run annual conference with a purpose to provide a safe space for students identifying as women or non-binary to network and lead in technology. Now we continue to grow not only as a conference, but also as a movement. We host this conference annually to empower students to raise their hand, own their voice, and create waves of change.
Absolutely, Sarah, and I cannot be more excited to be here supporting that mission. Hi everyone, my name is Danica Sun, pronoun she, her, and I'm the other co-director of GirlCon 2024. Throughout the past 7 years, we have engaged over 3,500 passionate attendees and dedicated team members. Our first conference in 2018 was held at Northwestern University, where we welcomed 200 attendees. Our second conference in 2019 was held at Google, where we had 250 attendees. In 2020, we went virtual because of COVID, redesigning our conference to no longer just be Chicago-based, but be available on an international scale. We were delighted to unite over 700 young students. In 2021, we had 900 plus attendees from over 25 countries, and in 2022, we expanded further to utilize a hybrid model that incorporates both in-person and virtual aspects. Last year, we continued this hybrid model with a successful in-person and virtual conference, engaging 600 plus young women from all over the world, and hosting our first ever CME plus Google Innovation Challenge, as well as our first GirlCon chapter conference, GirlCon Texas. What makes GirlCon so magical is truly the people. So make sure to join tomorrow's lunch networking session and meet some new friends in all these sessions you attend. Our conference is better with you here, sharing your voice with us all.
Hi everyone, my name is Sumaya, pronoun she, her. I'm a senior vice president at GirlCon this year based in the Bay Area, and I'll be an incoming freshman at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, majoring in bioengineering and public policy in the fall. We want to take a second to recognize the amazing groups and individuals that make GirlCon possible. GirlCon would not be what it is without the incredible sponsors and companies that have supported our growth. This year, we've been able to raise over $20,000 in order to make sure that GirlCon 2024 was possible. Moreover, we would not be here today without the GirlCon core team. The core team has worked tirelessly over the past year to ideate, plan, and smoothly execute each part of the conference. We turned a dream into reality with GirlCon 2024, and we are so excited to move through this weekend and see our palpable fingerprints through each moment of inspiration. To the entire team, thank you, and thank you for carrying this mission onward and upward. You inspire us to dream bigger every year.
We have made has truly been amazing. Hello everyone, my name is Maida and I'm the other senior vice president here at GirlCon. I will be an incoming freshman at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign this fall, studying computer science. As you are going through this week, we encourage you to think about GirlCon as your stepping stone to whatever is next in your path, whether that be a newfound passion that you discover through a breakout session, whether it be a mentor who is now part of your network, or friends and connections that will last you a lifetime. We encourage you to do at least one thing outside of your comfort zone. You might just find that what lies behind uncertainty and fear will lead to boundless growth and discovery. Join us this week to become empowered by tech and connected to other passionate young leaders. Participate in your sessions, thank your mentors and team, post on social media to spread our message, and most importantly, stay inspired. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for joining us this week, and we can't wait to feel your energy and watch you #making waves of change.
Hi, my name is Ria, and I'll be an incoming freshman at University of Nebraska-Lincoln. This year, GirlCon has chosen to place emphasis on goal setting, empowering ourselves, and persevering through our challenges in order to shine bright. To kick off GirlCon 2024, we encourage you to take part in our Making Waves of Change social media challenge and share what your goals are for your future and what motivates you throughout this weekend. We can't wait for another amazing year of GirlCon.
Hello everyone, my name is Carissa and I'm a rising senior at IMSA. Each year has been a huge milestone for GirlCon. From just 200 attendees in the Chicagoland area, our conference has grown to over 1,000 attendees in over 35 different countries. To us, these aren't just numbers, though, but a representation of the impact that GirlCon has been able to make on students from all across the globe. We are truly grateful for each and every one of you for taking time out of your summers and spending it with us. We'd also like to give a huge thanks to our wonderful breakout session and professional development leaders. This conference truly would not be able to function without all of you, and as a past attendee at many of these sessions, you inspire each and every one of us to reach higher and make a difference in this world. We can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule and spending it with us.
Thanks, Carissa. Hi, my name is Dia. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be a junior at Stevenson High School. This year, we have the unique opportunity of hosting a hybrid conference. This means we have sessions happening both virtually and in person. To make the most of this experience, please remember to keep your camera on if possible. In addition, please note that several of the sessions will be recorded as the presenter is speaking and posted as unlisted for GirlCon registrants only to view afterwards. Please use the chat features as much as possible to introduce where you're from, what your pronouns are, your name, but also use emojis to react. Also remember to ask as many questions as possible. Interacting more this week will give you a greater chance of receiving the ultimate swag bags.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan and I'll be a senior at St. Vincent Ferrer High School. We have so much cool swag, t-shirts, sunglasses, bags, stickers, and more. But we only have 200 swag bags this year, so for a better chance of receiving a swag bag, participate in our social media challenges starting today. Check your email and the GirlCon Instagram for more information on how to participate in these challenges. Make sure to post about your experience at this conference and use our hashtag Making Waves of Change, and tag at GirlConTech on all platforms.
Hi everyone, my name is Annie and I will be a senior at Jesuit High School here in Portland, Oregon. We are so glad you all made it to this opening ceremony and got the calendar invite, as this is how you'll be joining all of your sessions. The attendee-only page on our website contains all the Zoom links, allowing you to attend any session that interests you during the conference. All breakout rooms will happen on Zoom, while keynotes and large sessions like this one will be Zoom webinars. If you have any questions throughout the conference, feel free to email us or DM us on social media platforms. Thank you again for being here today.
Thanks, Annie. My name is Emma, pronoun she, her, and I will be an incoming senior at Riverside Brookfield High School. I would like to start off by thanking all of our amazing GirlCon 2024 sponsors for all the support they provided, not only in the past, but especially this year. Now, here's a slide with all of our great sponsors. I am so grateful to have been part of the GirlCon core team and work with these amazing companies. Thank you to All Rise Legal Counsel, Cyberdome, Bear Eye LLC, and Virtue. We truly appreciate all that you've done for us. I'd like to now extend a huge thank you to our gold and partner sponsors, CME Group, ISACA Chicago, Acuna Capital, Air Foundation, Ismail Foundation, Chevron, and Google. Additionally, thank you so much to our physical sponsor, Bits and Bytes Cybersecurity Education. This conference would not be possible without you. We truly can't wait to continue this partnership in the future. Now, here's a quick message from our 2024 gold and partner sponsors.
We are thrilled and honored to host GirlCon 2024 at Google. As you navigate this exciting day, I encourage you to explore your interests, ask questions, connect with like-minded individuals, and envision your potential as the next generation of leaders and change makers in the tech industry. I believe that GirlCon 2024 will be a transformative experience that will ignite your curiosity, fuel your ambitions, and empower you to make a meaningful impact on the world through tech. On behalf of Google, welcome to GirlCon 2024, where the possibilities are endless and the future is yours to shape.
Hello everyone, my name is Ramona Ratiu. I'm the current president of the ISACA Chicago chapter and Global Chili's Tech Ambassador. I'm so excited to be the voice of the Chicago chapter, who's sponsoring for the 4th year in a row the phenomenal GirlCon Chicago conference. So a little bit about our ISACA Chicago chapter. It's comprised of over 2,500 individuals working in IT audit, security, and governance. Our members share a common purpose: to help improve themselves and their organization through education and knowledge sharing. Through seminars, regular meetings, certification prep courses, and networking events, our members are able to improve the quality of the services they provide to their employers while also enhancing their knowledge in ISACA practice areas. We have several programs and initiatives supporting your generation, and one of them is called Shilly's Tech Program. The program falls under the One in Tech Foundation and seeks to increase the representation of women in technology leadership roles and the tech workforce. We strive to advance more women leaders in the technology industry. So again, welcome everyone and enjoy the conference.
Hi GirlCon, this is Lauren from Acuna Capital. For those who haven't heard of us, we are an options market making firm based in Chicago. We do this by creating our own low latency technologies, trading strategies, and mathematical models. At Acuna, we believe that innovation begins with inclusion. We are committed to providing opportunities and access to women and other underrepresented groups within this industry. We wholeheartedly agree with you that the lack of diversity in STEM is a huge issue, which is also why we're so excited to partner with GirlCon this year. It's great to see that students like yourselves are striving to get into careers in technology and taking this opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals. We look forward to connecting with you, and we hope that you'll consider Acuna Capital in your future career.
Hi there, I'm Leslie Cohen. This is my millionth year being part of GirlCon. I love it so much. I just love supporting young women in their quest to find the perfect career that's going to bring them a lifetime of happiness and encouraging women towards STEM-based careers. I am the managing partner of a law firm called All Rise Legal Counsel. We are 10 women and one great man, and we represent startup companies, most of which are technology companies, in connection with their early fundraising rounds. And then, so we help them raise money, and then we represent them with the contracts that they do with all of their different customers and users, and then we help them when they're buying or selling their company. So I'm so excited to be part of GirlCon 2024, and I know you all are going to be huge successes. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Tamara Wright.
And I'm Ron Wright, and we're the co-founders of Bear Wright LLC. We exist to help young adults improve in the areas of technology, mathematics, and financial literacy.
We are proud to support GirlCon's mission of empowerment. We are strong advocates in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These STEM careers all pair with the latest trends and can also enhance the fields in finance, beauty, education, athletic, arts, and many, many more. You are our future and want you to confidently enter into these spaces as leaders and progressively move us forward. Congratulations to you all.
Next, to make sure you know everything about GirlCon Virtual 2024, make sure to join our Remind by texting GirlCon V24 to 8110 to stay updated throughout the day. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email us at team@girlcon.org, and don't forget to have fun. We hope that this will be a fun learning and growing experience for everyone.
Nabila Syed is proud to represent the 51st District of the Illinois State House of Representatives, serving the communities of Palatine, Inverness, Barrington, Hoffman Estates, Rolling Meadows, Lake Zurich, Hawthorne Woods, Killdeer, Deer Park, Vernon Hills, and Long Grove. Nabila previously worked for a nonprofit in digital strategy, supporting a variety of civic engagement efforts, including voter mobilization, ending sexual assault on college campuses, and promoting gender equity. And the legislator, Nabila has worked to champion prescription drug affordability and access to healthcare, passed paid leave policies for organ donors, defended and helped expand access to reproductive healthcare, and has been a staunch supporter of firearm safety reform. Nabila was born and raised in Palatine, Illinois. I'll pass it off to her to share her inspiring story.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Nabila Syed, and I am the state representative of the 51st District. I just want to start off by saying thank you to all the GirlCon 2024 organizers that have been working diligently for months behind the scenes, making sure that this conference serves as a resource and a place for young women across the country to come together. So huge hats off to you all. And I'm so excited to be a keynote speaker for this segment. Once again, my name is Nabila Syed. I am the state representative, and I've only been in office for less than 2 years. I got elected in November of 2022, and our election was incredibly exciting. I'll walk you a little bit through my life journey, just because I feel like I know I'm not too far off from many of you in age. I graduated high school in 2017, and then afterwards, 2017 was a pivotal year for me. And I understand on this call and in this conference, folks from different political backgrounds, different perspectives are coming here and gathering and, channeling your energy behind this idea of female empowerment. And I'll be sharing a little bit of my political beliefs, but just want to put them out there just so folks understand that they're inherent to why I ran for office. But for those of you, I'm going to make this a little bit interactive. For those of you that are in the chat right now, can you remind me of what happened? I was a senior in high school during 2016, 2017. Could anyone drop in the chat what was happening in 2016? Not sure if folks can talk in the chat right now. Let me see. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but it might be issues on my end. Oh, there you go. There's a question. What was happening in 2016? Kyla got it hit it on the nose, the presidential election. So I was a senior in high school, and fidget spinners for sure. But I was a senior in high school when the 2016 presidential elections were happening. And for those of you that have been following politics, that have been even, scrolling on Twitter and seeing anything political, you see that, we are facing once again similar candidates in this upcoming election that we're running in 2016. And in 2016, the presidential election was between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And when I say that, it sounds like it was such a long time ago, thinking of Hillary Clinton being on our ballot. But Hillary Clinton, in my eyes, was set to become the first female president of the United States. And I remember I was in my high school newspaper club. I attended Fremd High School in Palatine. I grew up in this community, and I attended Fremd High School, and I was the editor-in-chief of our high school newspaper. And it was very exciting. I loved writing, and I was co-editor-in-chiefs with another young person named Eric. And I remember a few days before the election was happening, Eric and I had decided that we were going to write 2 pieces so that we could immediately publish the Viking log right after the election results come out. And I was like, hey, Eric, I was being a little sly. I was like, hey, Eric, why don't you take the piece if Hillary Clinton wins? And I'll take the piece if Donald Trump wins, because I thought, in my eyes, it was more likely that Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidential election. So I assumed I would not have to write an article, I could coast through and not have to worry about it. But then lo and behold, the night of the election, frankly, being a little vulnerable here, I was sitting and crying in my room because I realized Donald Trump won. And for some insight, I ran as a Democrat. I am a strong Democrat, and Donald Trump, I did not feel represented my values, especially as a hijab-wearing Muslim woman in this country. I felt very scared. I felt very isolated when he was talking about things like a Muslim ban. That hurt me deeply. And when you're a senior in high school, you're navigating, I felt like I was still finding myself. I feel like I'm still finding myself. And to feel like it's such a pivotal time in my life, the leader of our nation, or who was going to become the leader of our nation, did not align whatsoever with me and felt like he could villainize communities that I come from and identities that I share. And when you're also a senior in high school, beyond finding yourself interpersonally, you're also deciding what you want to do for the next 4 years and beyond. So I decided that that was the moment. I was like, I am going to get involved in politics. And I was a high school debate kid. I was familiar with politics, but I did not ever think that I could make a career out of politics. I also grew up in a South Asian household where careers like politics, you don't usually see South Asians represented in these spaces. So it seemed like that was not an option for me. So what I did was, when I was getting college admission decisions back, I was choosing, at that point, I was choosing between Berkeley and U of I. I really wanted to go to California for some reason, so I chose Berkeley. And I ultimately decided I would major in political science and also business administration, because I thought business was going to be a major that maybe I could find a career in, because I wasn't too sure about politics. But lo and behold, I was relatively naive looking back on it now. But I remember thinking that the biggest decision I made in my life was deciding to pursue politics as an education route and then eventually as a career. And the biggest decision I made was when I was in high school, as a senior, by something that impacted me so profoundly. And it always reminds me that people talk a lot about young people and decisions that we make and decisions that might impact the rest of our lives. But they fail to talk about it in a positive manner for what it is. The experiences that you all are having in the most formative years of your life will shape who you become for years to come. And there was such a pivotal role in that moment, in that decision that I was making at that time, when a man that I despised became president because I did not align with his values. I felt like he was trying to alienate Muslims and South Asian people from politics. I had two decisions I could have made. And one was to listen to that and feel like I didn't belong in this country and feel like I had no space to be in politics. And the other option was to create space for people like me in politics, to believe that this is a career that I especially now had a moral imperative to be a part of. And I'm so grateful that I chose the latter, because had I chosen the former, the trajectory of my life would have been different at my age. So after I went to college, I was very much immersed in business life there. I was part of a nonprofit consulting organization. I loved my time at Berkeley. And like many of you here, you had your education interrupted by COVID. So COVID was I was a junior in college when COVID hit. I had to come back home, move back in with my parents, and basically reverted back to my high school self, which was not easy. And I had to take virtual classes. I didn't feel like I was really learning much, but I didn't feel super motivated to learn at that point either. But then in the summer of 2020, something huge happened. And I'm going to leave this as another interactive portion in the chat. Could you all tell me what happened in the summer of 2020? Many things happened, but there was something political related that was another defining moment for me in my life. So feel free to drop it in the chat if you have any idea of what happened in summer of 2020 besides the pandemic. I'll give you all a few more minutes to relive. Yes. So the first two folks that have contributed to the chat got it completely on the nose. George Floyd was murdered in the summer of 2020. And this was such a pivotal point for me as a young person living in America, seeing the murder of a man that was captured on social media, that was captured by video and put on social media and distributed, and seeing the aftermath of what was happening. And there were significant movements across the country, significant Black Lives Matter movements across the country that were shining a light on the history of oppression against Black people in our country. And this was another moment for me where I felt I had to get involved, that I had to use my voice as an ally for safety and liberation of other people in our community, to advocate for others, to use it for good. So I got involved working on issues related to my local high school district, the same district that I was born and raised in, the same district that I grew out of, attended all the public schools in. And I wanted to make sure that my high school district was being more responsive to the needs of Black and Brown students, and understanding the difficulties and the disparities that Black and Brown communities face when it comes to mental health issues, when it comes to diversity and representation among teachers, when it comes to the treatment that they receive from their peers, and how there might be racial undertones to negative racial undertones to the way they navigate their high school process. So I got more involved there. And this was very local. This was just here in my community, talking to allies, talking to advocates, making sure that Black members of our community that were using their voice were centered at this movement to make sure that they were advocating for things that would result in more diversity in hiring practices at our school district, that would result in more Black and Brown students actually being heard by their school board members. And I always think back to that moment because after that moment, we had met someone on the campaign trail. We had met someone actually prior to this. We had met someone who we started working with related to Black Lives Matter, and his name was Tim McGowan. And Tim McGowan was an amazing man. He had attended the same high school district I had gone to. He had attended the same school I went to. He just graduated 16 years prior to me. And he was a Black man, had moved to Palatine, and his experience was profoundly different from my experience in this high school district. He had the worst time. He felt that being a Black man in this community, it was not welcoming. He did not feel safe. He did not feel like anyone cared for him. Whereas when I attended high school, I was very lucky to have the most pleasant experience possible. And Tim was like, what are the next steps? What could we do besides asking the school board to change? And we had told him that he has to run for office. So we helped him run for office. He became one of the first Black men elected to this high school district school board, and it was amazing. We made history, and it felt so exciting. And just a few months after that, not even a few months, just 1 month after that, we had been looking at the new maps. I had at this point graduated. I was graduating college. It was May of 2021. I was just graduating college and just started my first job out of college working in a nonprofit organization that focused on voter mobilization. And I wanted to get involved in my free time on someone else's campaign because I ultimately decided, I was like, business is not really the route I want to go down. I wasn't finding it super interesting. I knew my heart kept pulling towards politics. But I, as a young person, had thought, okay, well, as a young person that just graduated college, maybe people would really appreciate my skill set as, a campaign manager for a campaign in our community. And this area that I lived in has historically been represented by Republicans my entire life. The district was redrawn to actually favor Republicans in the most recent gerrymandering redistricting process. And I was so intent on finding someone that I could help in my free time as a volunteer position until we kept looking for candidates, and eventually some popped up, but I just wasn't feeling as passionate about them until my friend Anusha asked me to run. And she's like, we keep looking for these candidates. Why don't you just run for office? And it was the most crazy thing to me. It was the craziest thing to me. I tightened up my hijab and I was like, are you being serious? Because I thought it was a joke. And the reason why I thought it was a joke is because the community I live in does not necessarily look like me. It's an 80% white community. It's a relatively affluent community and has historically, as I mentioned, this geographical region has been represented by a Republican for as long as I could remember. But I was excited. I was excited by the possibility, and Anusha kept asking, and eventually I said yes. So when I decided to run for office in that district, it was a really proud moment. I was so excited to represent the place that I love, the place that is home to me. But I will say, the response was sometimes less than enthusiastic, is a kind way to put it. Of course, my family and my friends, they were excited. They were thrilled. They didn't really exactly understand it, but they were excited that I was embarking on this huge journey. But it felt like some people in political spaces, they thought it was cute. They thought it was cute that a 22-year-old hijab-wearing South Asian woman was running in a district that belonged to a Republican. That's when it really kicked in. People genuinely did not believe that we had a shot. They laughed it off because of who I am, of my identity, the district I live in. There were racial undertones in the reasons people were telling me that I could not win. Someone had said that I should run for a seat in a district where people who looked more like me could win, or run to represent a community that looks more like you. But if I waited for a district that looked like a young South Asian Muslim woman and had a majority of them in the district, I would be waiting forever. So despite what people were saying, we persisted. We persisted because we knew our campaign had the opportunity to build a movement in the suburbs of Illinois. And I knew that if we made deliberate efforts to engage and excite voters that people typically did not engage in elections, then we could overcome the odds and we could win. So I'd knocked on doors. I had raised money. I was talking to voters at the doors. And when I would approach the doors, sometimes they would laugh and say, what are you? Like, are you in high school? And I would say, no, but I'm pretty close to a high school age kid. And this is why I'm running for office. And I would find that people would leave these conversations feeling so excited that young people wanted to step up and run for office and get involved in politics. They would express that they were tired with the way that things have been working with the candidates that they've been seeing, and they wanted fresh faces. And it didn't matter to people that I was a Muslim woman wearing a hijab. It didn't matter to people that I was South Asian. It didn't matter to people that I was 22, 23 at that time. They didn't care. They heard me out, they listened to my values, and they were excited. And in moments like those where I felt like I had to give up, like I couldn't handle one more criticism, I would remind myself that I couldn't afford to not be courageous. I come from a family of courageous people. Like many of you on this call, my parents immigrated to this country. I'm the first generation to have been born and raised in this country. And my father made the decision to immigrate to this country with nothing but $18 in his pocket, hoping that he could create a better life for kids that didn't even exist yet. My grandparents and my mother, they left everything in their home country and came here working odd jobs, working at Burger King, at Burlington Coat Factory, until they could afford a place to live. And when I think of giving up, even as a young person, I would think of the sacrifices that generations of my family have made for me to be afforded this moment to run. And through hard work and persistence, we knocked on doors, we engaged voters, young and old. We spoke to people about what was top of mind for them. And in a district that was meant for a Republican, we flipped the seat and won our election. And we elected the first Muslim woman, the first South Asian woman, and the youngest woman ever elected to the Illinois General Assembly in 2022. And it was such an exciting history-making moment. And I feel so proud that when times became tough, our team did not give up. When folks kept saying that you're too young for this, we did not give up. But we understood that what we are missing in all of these spaces, whether it's STEM, whether it's politics, whether it's lawyers, engineers, teachers, educators, what we are missing is the perspective of young people who are excited to immerse themselves in these spaces, and young women in particular that have been historically kept out of some of these spaces, intentionally so. And if we keep pushing our way in and creating space for ourselves, we are creating space for others. And I'm so excited that I made history as several firsts that I mentioned. But I'm going to be even more excited when we continue to elect young women to this position that could fight on behalf of their communities passionately and with care and compassion, so that we could, at the end of the day, have a lot more better people in politics representing our communities, and doing so with the courage and a passion of what you need when you run for office at the age of 22. I am proudly now. It's crazy to think that was 3 years ago when I was thinking about running for office. I'm now 25 years old. I got elected at 23, turned 24 while I was in office, and just this past April turned 25. And I am, it sucks because I'm Gen Z, but I feel so disconnected from the lower end of Gen Z because things have shifted dramatically since then. But I'm so excited to have my perspective and the perspective of many young people that we engage through our office in the halls of Springfield, Illinois, which is our state capital. And once again, just want to conclude on the remarks that there are sometimes these moments in your life that you experience at a young age where you can make a decision and it will change the entire trajectory of your life. And I made one of those decisions when I was a senior in high school. So when folks try to invalidate you based off your age, when folks try to make you feel like your experiences, they don't matter, just you're not an adult, I'm here to tell you that they do. And that every experience that you are going through, that the feelings that you are experiencing, these all build your character in your journey for years to come. So embrace the moment, embrace what you're doing right now. And I just want to applaud you all so much for being part of GirlsCon and for allowing me to come and speak to y'all. Now I'll kick it off to the Q&A portion.
Thank you so much, Nabila. That was so powerful, and I know I speak for all of us when I say we're so proud of you. So let's drop some love for her in the chat, and also make sure to drop your questions as well. So first we have, did you already know you wanted to major in political science and business administration before you went to college, or did you just decide to try them out and see how things would go?
So it was kind of half and half. I really wanted to major in political science after the 2016 election, and I decided, that was something I definitely wanted to do. And then when we went to visit colleges, I visited Berkeley with my family, and truly coming from a South Asian background, my parents weren't too much in my business about what they wanted me to do, but my dad was cautious about it. He's like, if you're only going to major in political science, I don't know what careers are going to come out of that. Maybe do business too. So I decided I would also do business, but if any of you attend Berkeley, the University of Berkeley in California, then you know that you can't really just apply and directly get into the business school, at least when I was there. You have to apply during your sophomore year. So I was intending to become a business major, but I still had to apply for it. So I was going with the flow, seeing what would happen and hoping that, I could also major in business. And thankfully I got into the business program, but, there was a chance that I would have had to kind of find a plan B if I hadn't gotten into the business program at that point.
Thank you. And we also have a question about how you campaigned while running. And I'd also be interested in hearing about certain obstacles you might have ran into while campaigning because you are a woman.
Yes. So campaigning is something that I have to constantly do because I am on a 2-year term. So right now I'm campaigning for my re-election campaign in November. But when I was first campaigning, some of the biggest things that you have to do is quite literally just introduce yourself to voters. So I had knocked on over 20,000 doors in my community, went up to people's doorsteps, said, "Hi, my name is Nabila Sayed. I'm running for state representative. Just want to understand what issues are top of mind for you and your family." And I did that knocked on 20,000 doors. Our team knocked on over 55,000 doors. You also have to raise a lot of money to get your word out there, to send mail to people's homes so that they know who you are, they've heard your name, they know what you stand for, and they feel confident enough to vote for you at the ballot box. So I had to raise a significant amount of money. And you can imagine as a 22-year-old with friends that are just out of college, no one's rich. No one is rich that I know of in my generation, among my peers. So it was a lot of reaching into my parents' connections, family, friends, whether or not they could chip in $5, $10, $100. I would ask every single person to donate to our campaign because even, a $5 donation adds up to help us afford, buttons for our campaign, to afford campaign signs, yard signs, things that are all needed when you're advertising your campaign to the general public. So it was a very difficult feat, but I would say that I was knocking on doors, raising money, and just trying to get our word out there that we were here in the community and we really cared about certain values. And that's why we believe we have to win.
Definitely. And then we also have from Vivian, so what activities did you do in high school? And just going off of that, I guess, how did you know so early on that you wanted to go into politics? And how did the activities you did in high school help you figure that out?
So this is going to be so corny because I was basically role playing the job I currently do in high school. I was a congressional debater. Let me know in the chat if you're a debater because I love my debate peeps. But I was a debater in high school and I did a congressional debate, and we would basically role play what the U.S. Congress does. And my job is like the U.S. Congress, but at the state level. So I would talk about hypothetical bills and argue an affirmation or negation of these bills and discuss issues related to foreign policy, domestic policy, all while in high school. And while I enjoyed it, I hadn't really viewed it as something I needed to go into until the 2016 election, which was when I was like, I need to major in politics and I need to be more involved in this space. And this is a space that intrigues me. And then eventually I, from that ran from office, but I would say I was in, the newspaper club, which I mentioned, the debate team. And I think that's those were my primary activities in high school.
Yeah, going off of the high school theme, what advice would you give to your younger high school self or high school students in general?
So lots of people have this idea that like if you want to achieve things while you're young, or if you want to eventually, like I'll actually backpedal. Lots of people think that if you want to do something in the future, you have to plan out every single step for it. And in some cases, that's true. Like medical school, for example, if you're trying to go to medical school, you want to figure out when you're going to take your MCAT. You want to figure out all the like classes you need to take in your undergraduate that will suit you best for your medical school application. And there are very deliberate decisions you have to make. But I would say that maybe, even if you feel like you're missing a step occasionally, it is totally fine. It is okay. Don't miss all the steps, but just if you feel like you're behind, especially I feel like, and I don't want to generalize about this crowd, but sometimes you might be in a hyper competitive space with your own high schools, where it feels like everyone is trying to, or your own colleges, where it feels like everyone is striving so high and so ambitious and so on top of it. And I'll be honest, in my college career, I had no idea what I was going to do for 3 years. I was doing internships related to political science, but nothing really clicked. I wasn't really enjoying them. Even my first job out of college, I wasn't super excited by. But I had no idea that I would run for office immediately, 7 months after graduating college. And I wasn't doing anything deliberately during my high school and my college experience to run for office. I wasn't trying to build my resume like that. I wasn't trying to say, trying to attend certain events because I wanted to become more recognizable. It really did come up a lot, very organically. And I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm not saying you just have to, I got very lucky that this organic opportunity came about. But if you feel like you are behind, trust me, you're not. Just try your best, root your actions in compassion, and just keep working towards your goals. But sometimes it's better to have a general goal of wanting to, for example, wanting to do good and look out for people in your community and actually create a profession that than having a very specific goal of like, I need to be elected at the age of 22 and need to be in my second term by the age of 25. Like that is not, that would be my advice of have goals, certainly have goals, but maybe lessen the pressure on yourself if if you don't feel like you're checking all the boxes or doing every single thing you need to be doing to obtain your goals. I think that was a question, right? Advice?
Yes, thank you. That's very helpful for all of us as we're going to our different years in our schools. Okay, so we're getting a lot of questions, so I will have to skip around a bit. But next we have, who has inspired you the most in your journey so far?
Who has inspired me the most in my journey so far? This answer is so corny. My mom. My mom has inspired me the most. I think, especially because of this job and the opportunities that I get to have being a state legislator, I think a lot about my parents like almost every day, about the journey that they had to come to this country, about the sacrifices that they had to make, the limited education my mom was able to receive. And when I first was thinking about running for office, I'm very grateful that my family was all in and supportive. But my mom, I remember she said, if you don't run in this moment, when are we going to see a young Muslim South Asian woman get elected in the state? If we don't seize this moment right now, how long will we have to wait for that representation? And I was like, dang, mom, like, my dad, and shout out my dad, he was working his tail off for the campaign, but my dad was cautious. He was like, I don't want my baby girl to be dealing with hate and stuff. Like, I want to protect her. But my mom was like, you got to do it, because if you don't step up, then God knows when we'll have this kind of representation. And she's right. Like, we don't know when the next opportunity would be for someone like me to run for office and to win. And I'm so grateful that my mom, despite her limited knowledge of even the American political system, of course she votes, but all these intricacies get complicated. But she just believed in her daughter so much that she was willing to bet everything on me. And just very, very grateful that she continues, and her life journey continues to be the most inspiring journey to me, because thankfully I got her on speed dial, so I could call her up anytime and ask for advice.
Definitely. So, do you feel that the political state in the US is as diverse as it should be? And if not, what do you think should be the top priorities to achieve the diversity that we need?
So, no, I think some spaces are getting more and more diverse, but I do not believe that the US political space is as diverse as it should be. And if you want to see why, just look through your state senator or your US senators, and you'll see age wise, racial background, ethnicity, background, like job backgrounds. You're not going to see the diversity at all close to representing the actual demographics of the United States. And that is where I feel like the system is not necessarily set up in a way to be as welcoming for people of color or for women. And that is why women had to fight so hard for so long to gain the right to vote and to create spaces in politics in areas that have never been represented by women. Like those races are especially hard. So we just need to continue pushing to make sure that people of different backgrounds, women feel empowered to run for office. And I will say, women need to be asked 7 times before they run for office. And I'm very grateful that my friend Anusha and my mom asked me 7 different times to run for office before I was convinced that this is something I could do. So if you are ever thinking about it, if you're thinking about doing anything and you need to be asked 7 times, maybe ask your friend, 7 times to do something. Or what I'm saying is, be that kind of source of encouragement for your fellow female peers that you would like for yourself as well, because you never know how it might come back to you.
Definitely something we'll all take with us. Okay, so moving on to our final question. So like you mentioned, your mom had limited knowledge of politics, but she still played a huge role in your journey. So what steps can young people take now to overcome biases and challenges and get involved in politics, no matter what their current role is? So no matter how involved they are or how big of a role they play, what can they do to overcome these challenges and get involved?
Creating a presence, basically, and not like a social media presence or anything like that, but like politics is local. Every one of us has local elected officials. We all have state level elected officials. We all have federal officials. And sometimes federal officials are the hot and flashy ones that people gravitate towards. But I will say they don't do much work. I'll give an example. I've passed 14 bills as a freshman, so 14 laws. But I will say freshmen at the federal level have maybe passed 1. And that is because it's harder. It's just harder to do work at the federal level where there's so much divisiveness and so much gridlock. But getting involved at the state level and the local level, talking to your state representatives, your local elected officials, township board members, municipality board members, talking to them and and if there's specific policies that you're passionate about, letting them know about that. Because at the end of the day, all these elected officials, their job is to serve you all. Like that is the role of a public servant. That is what you're signing up for when you're elected. So it is important for me to it is important for me as an elected official to be open to folks that want to come to our office and share their perspective, but especially if they're a constituent. If they are in the district that I physically represent, then it's basically my obligation. So I would say getting involved in those kinds of ways, if there are any campaigns that excite you, even volunteering 1 or 2 hours a week, a month, whatever kind of involvement you want to have. I will say now is the most important time to be getting involved in politics. There's just so much on the ballot, so many different issues on the ballot, and however you care for these issues, making your voice heard is fundamental to our democracy. So I would encourage you all. I know even if politics is not the trajectory you want to go on, maybe it could be like a side little fun hobby or something that you're in tune with. Last thing I'll say is, at the bare minimum, vote. Please, please vote. Make sure that you are making your voice heard at the ballot box, because some people are counting on you not to vote, and young people to stay out of politics because they're afraid of progress and they don't want things to change. So the more and more we could get young people voting involved, the better.
Again, you're amazing, Nabila, and thank you so much for sharing your story with all of us today. Let's give her some thanks and goodbyes in the chats.
Thank you all.
Now, for the rest of the afternoon, make sure to catch all of the exciting sessions we have happening. So here's the schedule for both today and tomorrow. Feel free to take a screenshot or a photo. And we highly encourage you to join as many sessions as you're interested in and able to attend. They all cover such diverse topics, and we have an amazing lineup of speakers coming. And don't forget to check your emails for the GirlCon Zoom background, which you can download and use as you join these meetings. So here you can scan the QR code to access our master document, which contains both the schedule and sessions to join all of the links. So I'll leave this up for a second so you can scan it, screenshot it, and make sure to save this document as you'll be needing it a lot this afternoon and tomorrow. Okay, and as a final reminder, feel free to join our Remind. We'll be sending out reminders before all these sessions start. We'll be sending out this master spreadsheet with all the Zoom links. We'll be sending out reminders before our lunch networking session, before the closing ceremony, so you do not want to miss out. And we don't want to keep you all here any longer, so make sure to hop on all of these documents and join some sessions. Bye, and thank you so much for joining us for our GirlCon 2024 opening ceremony.